Hi and hello, I'm Ellie Wishes and welcome to my channel, and drum roll please. Some exciting things are happening today. So if you remember earlier this year, I made a video about how I redraw a mermaid every year, and it was really fun and really exciting and so many people watched it, and I made YouTube shorts about it. Well, I have something new brewing. Just a refresher, these are all the mermaids of years past. Gorgeous, beautiful. There's only one problem. These are all the same mermaid. Like, yeah, they're gorgeous and it's cool to see the progression, but man, don't you want to draw, maybe a different mermaid? If only 2018 Ellie had drawn another mermaid for us to redraw. Oh wait, she did! So this is another drawing I did in 2018. I would have been about, 14, I think. And a while ago, I made this, concept art sheet of a bunch of mermaids to make a little, graphic novel. Coral, who's this mermaid, I made this design of her holding a trident, and I thought it looked really cool. And because so many people liked the last video, I decided, hey, let's give it a shot. Let's try and draw her in this very regal Art Nouveau style. And guys, I had such a blast. So we're starting off with a photo bash reference image for her body, and then we're going in with the sketch and then refining it. Love this drawing so much. I had so much fun. The colors are very tropical, whereas the last drawing of Saria was very muted, pastel colors. So a change of pace was really awesome. I want to compliment my old work a little bit because I feel like it's really common for artists once they reach a certain skill level to kind of diss on their old art, which I totally get it. This original piece that I'm redrawing, ton of mistakes, a really bad anatomy. I want to be a bit positive about my old work because I was really proud of this drawing when I first, and there's a lot of positives in that drawing that I used to build my skills, and I don't want to discourage any younger artists whose work might look like my old work, because that just that feels like such a bummer, man. But I really wanted to point out I had a really nice choice of colors, and for the longest time people told me that, oh, Ellie, you're really good at picking colors. I was like, what does that mean? Are you just is there nothing else you can compliment about my work? Is this backhanded? But no, I see it now. The pink and the yellow look really good together. She does look a little jaundiced with the skin tone I originally picked, so that wasn't the best choice, but with the blue background, the yellow popping so much, Ellie, 14-year-old Ellie, was cooking with color theory, man. I did reuse the Art Nouveau border I did from the last drawing, so here's what it looked like when I drew that. And I know what you're thinking, Ellie, reusing your old work. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Also, that border took 5 hours. This drawing ended up taking 12 hours, and if I drew a whole new background from scratch, that would bring it up to 16 hours. And I can't swing that, man. I can't swing that. I'm in college. I'm tired. I'm old. My bones hurt. But additionally to the Art Nouveau border, for the background, I wanted to take this aquamarine and bring in a pale yellow for the sun. And I reused the Art Nouveau little circle thing that I drew. So that's almost like the sun, similar to the siren drawing. And I also bring in pink. So the coral is pink, and I have a little bit of trouble with the coral because I give her these waist beads and I make them coral beads. But man, let me tell you, those looked ugly. And so I end up redoing them right at the end, and it gives this piece a really nice balance. And so I started this drawing in January, and then my semester started, so I took a little break. And this is the point where I took a break because I remember the drawing just looking like this for a month and a half. And then on February 27th, I remembered there was an art competition at my school, and I placed in 2023. I didn't place in 2024, and that made me so sad. And so I said to myself, Ellie, you're going to submit your first siren drawing, and then you're going to draw this. It's going to look wonderful, show-stopping, amazing, brilliant, and you're going to submit that one too. And then on the 27th, I realized I only clocked in 6 or 7 hours on this, and it was only halfway done, and so I needed to finish it. So I then went and played Roblox with my friend for 2 hours. And then it was 11 o'clock at night. And then I said, you know what? I can do it. I can finish this. And so I stayed up till 3 a.m. working on this drawing, having the time of my life. I don't think that much time, like 4 hours of drawing, has ever gone by faster for me. I was having so much fun. I was just so hyper focused. So I am, fingers crossed, hoping I place this year. It would be really cool to place again. I'll take 3rd place. I'll take 2nd place. I can only dream of 1st place. For her trident, I made that the similar gold to the color of the border and also her tail. All of those are kind of the same color of yellow. For the border, I end up lowering the opacity. I don't know which way to say it. Because I felt like when it was super vibrant and super bright, it kind of took away from the mermaid herself. I also added whale sharks. So I gotta be so real. This is my first time drawing a shark of any sort. So I had my reference images and then I kind of like redlined them. And then I kind of like went in and I did some details. But if the sharks look a little weird, that's because I've never drawn sharks before. Especially whale sharks. Whale sharks look a little weird. But in my life drawing class last year, one of my classmates did this beautiful illustration of an aquarium and a person sitting in it, and there were these great whale sharks, and I have been wanting to draw a whale shark ever since, so I hope I did them justice. Seaweed. Y'all know about seaweed? That stuff's crazy. Not to go too off topic, but my family used to live on the Gulf Coast of Mexico, 2nd row off the beach, and every year, piles and piles of just dead seaweed would wash up on the shore, and it would make like almost these giant like mounds, and it would cover the entire beach. And let me tell you, that stank so bad. It was so smelly, and then like your water would smell like the seaweed too, like in the bathrooms. And so drawing this seaweed, I was like, oh, I want it to be a bit more detailed than the seaweed I did on Saria, because the seaweed's closer up to the camera and like there's not as much going on. There's not a giant rock in the middle. And so I Googled pictures of seaweed, and then I realized they're not just long tendrils, which I knew that. I've seen seaweed up close. Too much seaweed I've seen in my life. I wish I'd seen less seaweed. But aside from my general disdain of seaweed, I do think it looks really nice. I like the seaweed and the sand being above the Art Nouveau frame, and I also think the seaweed like overlapping with the whale sharks and like the shadows of the whale sharks on the seaweed look really nice and helps integrate them into the environment really well. A lot of technical talk from big artist Ellie here. Then I kind of struggled when it came to actually like rendering the sand, because I'm like, bro, what is sand even supposed to look like? A bunch of pebbles? I'm not drawing a bunch of pebbles. Are you kidding me? I'm a busy lady. So instead of drawing the sand, I drew more dots on the whale shark, because that was really fun and really satisfying. For shading, I used a dark maroon, and I kind of blended that out, and then I added highlights with a pale yellow. And then I changed the opacity, and then sometimes I would switch between overlayer and then a lightener layer to see which looked better. I generally keep it with a normal layer, and then sometimes if I'm really like struggling with that, I'll go to overlay. So now we kind of reached the point I was talking about earlier where I was really struggling with her waist beads. In the original, she has pink and orange waist, big piece of coral on her waist and on her tail, but I decided for this version I'd have a big starfish on the belt and then it just be coral beads. And one of the reasons that this caused such dissonance, I think, in the piece is that her crown and her necklace piece, those were just solid pieces of coral. They had no beads on it. So I tried to at a couple points add beads and it looked ugly. I tried adding pearls like on her necklace to the waist beads. It looked ugly. So I ended up just removing the waist beads as a whole and then going back to the original idea that I had in 2018 and doing just the chunks of coral. The only other super major adjustment that I make is changing the opacity on her tail. So it took a couple steps to do this, but basically I did this because then you could see just little bits of the seaweed behind her, and I feel like fish fins are a little translucent, and like sometimes they have a little bit of like holes in them, and I just think that adds a lot of visual interest to a mermaid. And if I'm wrong, sue me. So then as I was finishing, I kind of realized if you put this drawing in a grayscale, everything would look the same color of gray. So like the hue of everything was too similar. And so what I do is I add a black vignette all the way around, and that creates a bit more contrast, a little bit more dimension in the lights and the darks of colors. I really like to think these sharks are her royal guards and she's going about her queenly duties being so regal. Anyways, let's get into that sweet, sweet grand reveal. Thank y'all for watching. I have a couple other old mermaid drawings that I might want to redo. If you think I should redraw them, let me know. But most importantly, I hope you have an awesome day, night, evening, morning, whatever time you are in. And peace out. Also, maybe subscribe. Woohoo!